Hey, by the way, tonight's game, New York wins that outright.
You know he's on top. Million subs, he never gonna flop. Out of Chicago, where the streets don't sleep. Betting on games, making cash real deep. Crystal ball for sports, he knows the lines. He's a sports aficionado, the money he finds. From football to basketball, he's always on point. Predicting winners never disappoints. He's got that hustle, that Chicago vibe. Making moves on the streets, cash on the side. With E, you know it's always a bet. He's the king of the game, never forget.
Hello and welcome to the ETOFT21 Sports Show for August 5th. How is everyone doing? My name is Eric. I'm the man behind ETOFT21 Sports. Absolutely loaded episode for you today. My boy Jake, aka Money Badger Bets, him and I are going to talk the AFC East. And Gino has his horse racing bet of the day. But before we get into all that, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of the show, ProphetX. Guys, if you're not using ProphetX, this peer-to-peer stuff, totally the future of sports betting. Make sure to go there, download the app, use promo code ETOFT21. That way they know old Uncle Rico sent you. Now let's shift our attention over to Colonial Downs. Well, Gino will have his horse racing bet of the day for the Arlington Millions.
Best bet for this week is going to come over at Colonial Downs. It is Arlington Million Day on Saturday. They have some really big races. It's a big weekend all over the place, but Colonial is one that we'll be focusing in on. Look at race number 9 and take a look at the number 4, Simulate. This is a horse who's really showed some improvement in the last couple. So you can see Simulate debuted sprinting and then stretched out, and the 3 races going long, very, very good. He's now going to make the 3rd start back after almost 11 months off. The race on July the 18th at Saratoga was very good. I think this horse is going to sit a really nice trip as we look at the daily racing form past performances. I'm looking at the mobile version. That's what's cool. A lot of times you see me looking at the desktop version, getting a look here at the mobile version of the DRF past performances. And we're going to be looking at Simulate Saturday, race number 9 at Colonial. Also, if you're a fan of AI tools, check out the new daily racing form AI tool, chat.drf.com. Tune in every week for the best information from sports. Getting excited to start talking some football with Eric pretty soon here. Good luck, everyone.
Give my boy Gino a follow at It's Me, Gino B, and I can see my internet is lagging, which is awesome. Now, let's welcome to the show the man from South Beach, but he's on the East Coast right now. He is actively trying to convince his wife to name the newborn Tua. My boy Jake, aka Money Badger.
That name was absolutely never in the books, but I appreciate the introduction there.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you doing? How's life?
You know what? It is hot as hell here. I am ready for the fall. I'm a sensitive boy from Michigan. I can't handle the heat, dude.
I think I'm more ready for the fall for football, baby. I think it's that time of the year. We've been betting only MLB for a couple months now. It's time for a little change. College football starts, NFL starting.
I am at that time of the MLB season where I hate my life. I hate betting MLB. If I have to bet another Colorado Rockies game, I'm gonna effing kill myself.
America's team,
dude. You know, I'll tell you what, dude. I'm gonna be on them tomorrow. Full transparency. To avoid the sweep against the Blue Jays.
I'm on your White Sox tonight, straight on the money line, plus 205.
Against my boy Woo.
Yeah.
Against my boy Woo. So I had you on. What I love doing is I love getting guys that bet on for these preview shows where one of their teams are on it. You know, you're a Miami Dolphins fan. We're going to get to that soon. Let's jump into it. We're going to talk. We're going to go in the order they finished last year. We're going to start with the Pats. All these odds are via mybookie.ag. Super Bowl plus 68 to 1. AFC 30 to 1. AFC East plus 520. Over under 8.5 to make the playoffs. Yes, plus 130 to miss the playoffs. Minus 154. Jake, where is your head at with the New England Patriots?
Yeah, so I just want to look at some numbers from last year first on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Passer rating numbers, obviously Drake May was his rookie year. They were 24th in passer rating. That O-line really didn't help. Passing yards per attempt, they were 29th. Rushing yards per attempt, they were 13th. So kind of a little above average there. On the defensive side of the ball, their defensive passer rating was 26th. Defensive passing yards per attempt, 14th, not terrible. And then rushing defense, they were 18th in yards per carry. They made some changes this offseason, though, Eric. And I'm going to go through a little bit on the offense and the defense and what my expectation is for them here. Drake May is now under a new head coach in Mike Vrabel and offensive coordinator with Josh McDaniels. And then they signed Stephon Diggs, who is coming off that ACL tear. So who knows how great he's going to be, but we definitely know his potential. It's a great weapon to have, better than any weapons they really had last year. They added Matt Collins, and they're returning Demario Douglas, Kayshon Boutte, Kendrick Bourne, Jalen Polk, who I heard isn't having the best camp, but he's still returning. He's still young, and Javon Baker. The offensive line was terrible last year. That's why I felt bad for Drake May. He was making things happen and didn't really have much help. But what did they do? They went out and signed right tackle and Morgan Moses, a center, Garrett Bradbury, and guard Wes Schweitzer. And then they drafted LSU's Will Campbell and the number 4 overall pick as an anchor left tackle. So they did what they had to do there. At the running back, they also drafted Travion Henderson out of Ohio State in the second round. They still have Ramondre Stevenson. The tight end stayed intact there with Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper. So all in all, I think the offense definitely got better than last year. I mean, it was hard to get any worse. On the defensive side of the ball, the D-line, they were able to keep Christian Barmore and Keon White, and then they picked up Milton Williams and Kairos Tonga. At linebacker, they returned Christian Ellis and added Robert Spillane from Vegas on the inside. So those are their 2 inside backers. They kept Anthony Jennings, who's coming off of his best career on the outside, and they signed Harold Landry from Tennessee. In the secondary, the Patriots, they kept Christian Gonzalez, but they did lose Jonathan Jones, who was one of the bright spots for them last season. They were able to retain Kyle Duggar and Jabril Peppers. I was always a big fan of Jabril Peppers as a New Jersey kid. But overall, I mean, they improved in all the areas they needed to. And I am a believer in Drake May. I think he has a bright future in the league. He was making things happen last season, like I said, with absolutely nothing. I think they brought in a really good coaching staff and had a great draft and offseason. But there are a lot of new pieces. So the question is, what's the chemistry going to look like? This is a very new team compared to last year, new coaches, new signees, new draft picks. So there's still a giant question mark in my book. If I had to pick one of those lines right now, I kind of like their team total over 8.5. I'm not going to lie. Now, the one thing I didn't do here, Eric, is look at the schedules yet. Obviously, that plays a huge factor. But just based on the division, I like their team total over. I think it's a sleeper pick.
Okay. All right. I feel with Vrabel, how do you feel as Vrabel as a coach? I feel that he is a floor riser, not a ceiling riser. If that, you know what I mean? Like, he'll make you better, but I don't think he can get you over the hump.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely going to test him as a coach, though. It's not like he's taking on a job that's loaded with talent. He's going to a team that was coming off of a huge winning season. Like, they're starting from, I wouldn't say the ground up, but this is definitely going to be a test, and he can prove himself in this tenure here with New England. New England was this giant powerhouse when they had Brady and Belichick, obviously. Then they've kind of been at the bottom of the division, at the bottom of the league for the last couple of years. And, he has a great opportunity to cement himself as that great coach, or as that, what did you just refer to it, as a ceiling coach, right?
Yeah, as like a ceiling raiser. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but this is what you live for too. Like, you want opportunity like this. You want the opportunity to take a team that everyone's going to count out. Like, look at the Commanders last year, and then all of a sudden you turn that entire franchise back around, and I wouldn't say you turn them into a powerhouse, but you over exceed expectations, I'd say.
So I started with the offensive line. You mentioned it. They 31st in pass blocking, 32nd in run blocking, 27th in sacks allowed, 27th in adjusted line yards. They went in and they brought in the old ball coach, Doug Monroe, to be the offensive line coach. Massive upgrade in coaching and personnel. Still early to kind of expect them to be dominant right away. real upside here, I think, as the unit progresses through the season. I was kind of surprised that Vrabel hired Josh McDaniels as the OC. I really think the scheme that we're going to see is what Cam Newton was during that 2020 season, when it was just a lot of RPO heavy principles, attacking horizontally and a little vertical, a lot of level concepts, with Diggs mainly being insides and Boutte and Hollins being the stretch on the outside. With it being such an RPO type system, they're going to lean on those wide receivers to block. Historically speaking, Diggs is not a good pass blocker. When we look at the run game, I mentioned the RPO. I think it's going to be top 5 RPO usage in the league. No secret, Vrabel wants to run the ball, rely on the defense, not put man in a situation to blow the game. And they're going to return more to a power gap zone scheme. When we look at it last year on zone runs, only 3.6 yards per carry. On power gap runs, 4.3, which makes the Henderson pick kind of interesting to me, because at Ohio State, he ran mainly in zone concept. And it's going to be interesting when we talk about the backfield. Henderson, Stevenson, and Gibson are still there. How is those splits going to look like? Stevenson really struggled with the fumbles last year. Gibson was more of the pass catching back. Now you bring in Henderson, who's like not a power gap, more of a zone run. How is everything going to look? I'm a little confused about that. I expect a lot of pre-snap motion. That way it's going to make stuff easier for May to kind of, how can I word this? See what the defense is going to be doing.
Yeah. Get a pre-snap read.
I really feel Drake May, 500 rushing yards is the basement. I feel he's going to have at least 500 yards running. And also, I love Hunter Henry. 6.5 targets a game with Drake May, 21% target share. Didn't score any touchdowns. He's due for some positive touchdown regression. If you're going to, in your fantasy football drafts, and it's round 13, and you're like, oh shit, I don't have a tight end, Hunter Henry's the guy you want. Defensively, it's going to be a 3-4 focus on 2 gap responsibilities. Christian Baltimore, Milton Williams, and are going to be the pressure up front. Linebacker room, they kind of roam free. Vrabel doesn't really like to blitz. He just likes a lot of pre-snap movement, looking to confuse the quarterbacks. You mentioned Christian Gonzalez. He's going to be shadowing opposing wide receiver ones. They brought in Carlton Davis, who was with my Detroit Lions last year and was god fucking awful. Excuse my language. Going to mix in a lot of man, a lot of zone. When we look at last year's team stats, they were dead last in passing yards, 31st in passing touchdowns, 20th in rushing attempts, but 13th in rushing yards. Right there, those stats tell me they need to run the ball more. And I think we're going to see that with the RPO. Third fewest turnovers, 4. So obviously Vrabel's going to have to get in there, get them to be a little bit more aggressive. You mentioned their schedule. Second easiest schedule. Soft start to the season with the Raiders and the Dolphins. My worry is they have that late bye. And when you have a late bye with a team with so much turnover in the offseason, that is a little worrisome to me. My take on them, look, Vrabel as an underdog, everyone knows the stats that watch my stuff. 57% against the number, 8.8% ROI. At home, 65% against the number, 24% ROI. In his career, he's 4-2 to the over coaching. Offense, a little bit of a question mark. That 15-10 TD to INT ratio needs to be better. I need to see the O-line gel a little bit more. And I don't mean to be mean. I hate Josh McDaniels. I think the guy is awful. I have no idea how he's still a coach. Diggs is partying like Johnny Manziel coming off an ACL injury. You know, you mentioned Polk is kind of struggling. Defense will be better. I really feel like best case scenario, they're this year's Commanders. You know what I mean? A team that kind of comes out of nowhere with a rookie quarterback, even though May's not technically a rookie, only played the back half of the season.
Yeah.
The playoffs.
First fall season, though.
Yeah. My thing is, if you tell me they went 10-7, 11-6, I wouldn't be surprised. But if you told me they flipped it and went 7-10, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I'm just gonna look to bet this team as as a dog. That's going to be my thing.
And I think we could both agree on what I said. My expectation was it's a question mark. I was thinking the same thing with the running backs. Like, where do these running backs even mesh in this offense? But they must have some sort of plan if they went out and they drafted Travion Henderson, you know? So big question mark, but a lot of teams that are question marks in the preseason, it's not saying that they don't have potential. The potential is definitely there.
And you have Gibson just there too. You still have Antonio Gibson.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead. Let's shift our attention to the Jets. 240 to 1 to win the Super Bowl, 80 to 1 to win the AFC, 18 to 1 to win the AFC East, over under 5.5 to make the playoffs, plus 480 to miss the playoffs, minus 700. What say you about the New York Jets, my friend?
I say another team that is a giant question mark. We'll go through last year's numbers, even though they don't even matter, because there's a huge difference between Aaron Rodgers and Justin Fields. But passer rating, they were 18th. Passing yards per attempt, 25th. Rushing yards per attempt, 16th. Defensive passer rating, 11th. Defensive passing yards per attempt, 8th. Rush defense, yards per carry, 7th. We knew that defense was going to be good. I think they're still going to be good. But like I just said, Aaron Rodgers is out, and Justin Fields is in, which should actually fit this RPO type offense that Angstrand wants to run. They prioritized their offensive line. They signed Okafor and Josh Myers, and then they drafted Armand Mumbu. They will be all joining Olu Fashanu, John Simpson, Joe Tippmann, guys that were already there. And they're going to have at wide receiver, they moved on from Devontae Adams and Mike Williams, obviously, but signed Tyler Johnson and Josh Reynolds. And, of course, they have Garrett Wilson. They paid him a decent amount. Lazard is still there, but, I mean, I'm seeing rumors that he might not even make the 53-man roster. So I don't know how many eggs you could put in that basket. And then they also drafted Mason Taylor at tight end in the second round, which I think was an awesome move by them. And then they obviously kept Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. So their backfield didn't really change. Breece Hall was a question mark last year coming off of that injury, but he had a great year. He was probably their entire offense, honestly. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they retained their main DBs. Sauce Gardner got paid. Him and his boy Garrett Wilson waited for each other. I thought that was a cool little bromance they had there. Now they're going against each other in one-on-ones. They still have Michael Carter II, but they did lose Chuck Clark and Ashton Davis to my Dolphins. Up front, they did lose Hassan Reddick to Tampa, but kept Quinnen Williams and Jermaine Johnson. They lost depth with Bryce Huff leaving. Then at linebacker, they did lose C.J. Mosley, retired, but they keep Jermaine Sherwood and Quincy Williams. Jeff Ulbrich, he got to keep his core, and he's going to build on what was already a good defense. So really not worried about this defense, honestly, especially in this division. I expect the Jets defense to unfortunately be another top defense in the league. The offense is totally up in the air. But Hall and Fields can be a good 1-2 backfield punch with this RPO offense. I just think most of the season will depend on Justin Fields' arm. A lot of these teams in this division, they have good run defenses. So are they going to be able to run all over all these teams? I don't think so. I think it's going to rely on Justin Fields having to throw the ball. And I don't know how confident I am in that. So defense is going to be good. I think it's going to be a similar Jets team to last year, honestly. Just a slightly different roster, I'd say, you know?
Our boy Dan in the chat, Jets are a hard unders win for me. Can't win.
They might be a hard unders team if they can't score and they have a good defense in general. You know, that's what they were last year.
Can't wait for Williams to have a homer here to the Rangers. So I look at it right here. Head coach Aaron Glenn, first-year head coach, former Lions DC. Tanner Edstrand, former Lions passing game coordinators, and new OC. They bring in Wilkes, who used to be the DC for the 49ers. In my eyes right there, they're already ahead of the game. Those are massive coaching upgrades. Normore Hackett is a huge win for me. Glenn brings discipline. Wilkes brings exotic coverage looks. And Estrin installs a simplified version of the Troy offense designed around, as you mentioned, Fields' mobility and RPO decision making. Zone blocking system, heavy use of the RPO. With that being said, a lot of shotgun, a lot of play action, a lot of play bootlegs, a lot of heavy motion to simplify reads for Fields. I think they're going to see him rolling out to the right an insane amount. Zone blocking scheme, when you look at last year, 17th in pass blocking, 12th in run blocking, 15 in sacks allowed, 16th in adjusted lines. Interior is rock solid. Fashua needs to improve. Membola has elite upside in zone schemes. And when I look at what Justin Fields, this is the best line he's ever played behind, and he's a heavy mobile quarterback. I think he can kind of mask what issues the tackles could have early on in the season. Now, when we look at the offensive look, this is just a perfect fit for Justin Fields. Excels in RPO, zone read, play action rollouts. If you put the numbers next to each other, he's better than Aaron Rodgers was last year.
Oh,
I'm just saying it.
So we're a lot of quarterbacks.
You mentioned Breece Hall, 5th in outside zone attempts, 5.4 yards per carry. Fields' RPO is going to freeze the safeties, and the linebacker is going to make stuff easier for Hall. And my philosophy is nothing motivates people more than money, and he's in a contract year. I think Hall is going to have an insane season. And also last year, they were dead last in rushing attempts. They're going to run the ball more. Garrett Wilson already has had 3 1,000-yard seasons, 2024, 101 receptions, 1,147 yards, 7 TDs, 3rd in total targets over the last 3 seasons, 3rd best in separation versus zone coverage, elite after the catch, top 3 in missed tackles forced. And we need to remember, where did Garrett Wilson go to school? Ohio State. Where did Justin Fields go to school?
Ohio State.
When they played together, Garrett Wilson had over 1,000 yards and 78 yards receiving, 78 receptions, over 1,000 yards. Chemistry is there. And Devontae Adams, 114 targets last year with the Jets. Where are those targets going to go? Because when we look at everyone else, are you telling me Josh Reynolds, Alan Lazard, maybe Mason Taylor, who's a good fit in the system? But a lot more of those targets are going to go Garrett Wilson's way. Jets were 5th in pass attempts, but only 16th in yards. Expect better efficiency. Expect lower volume, but better results. When we look at the defense, 4-3 with the wide 9 coverage, which I'm not really a big fan of. Still going to be a top 10 defense overall. Quinton Williams anchors the middle. Will Slice decising blitzes, a lot more zone coverage. And that's the thing where is Glenn going to give Wilkes full control? Because the thing Aaron Glenn likes to do is what? Heavy man. And that's what burned Detroit last year. Is he going to let Wilkes do zone coverage? If he does, I really like this defense. If Glenn is adamant about using more man, that is my why. That is my concern. Wide 9, for those who don't know, the wide 9 is when the defensive ends are outside of the tackles, making interior runs and a lot of zone cut-in zone runs. Success, run defense may be weak unless the Ds are doing a better job of setting the edges. Loss of read hurts. They bring in Brandon Stevens, who gave up massive numbers in 2024. Sauce Gardner is going to shut down one side of the field. So, regression. There were 6.7 total wins per Pythagorean theorem, 1.77 win differential. So historically speaking, when it's 1 or more, teams go to the over 58% of the time. 1-score games, 3 and 7, due for some positive regression in luck. Also, when we look at their schedule, their last game of the year is at Buffalo. This could help them because Buffalo could be resting starters in that game. They're hosting Miami late in the season, which is great. So my first bet is I bet the New York Jets over 5.5 wins at -120. Complete coaching staff overhaul, which I love. Fields brings in rushing upside, passing explosion, better offensive line, Hill playing for a contract, defense top 10, favorable schedule, positive regression. Are you ready for bet number 2, my friend?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Garrett Wilson over 925.5 yards receiving, has gone over 1,000 yards 3 straight season. No competition for targets. Built-in chemistry with Fields. Scheme funnels to the wide receiver 1. Remember, St. Brown over in Detroit. Now, you ready for the big long shot?
Is this it? It's coming in this game?
This is my big long shot. I guess like it's not really a team, it's a player prop bet.
Okay, let's hear it.
Garrett Wilson to lead the NFL in receiving yards 50-1. Elite talent, volume, target volume, scheme fit. Adams 114 vacated targets. Fields knows this is basically his last shot. Who is he going to pass the ball to? The kid he went to college with, or Alan fucking Lazard?
Who might not even be on the team?
Josh Reynolds, a rookie tight end. You know what I mean? Or is he going to pass the dude he went to fucking college with?
Who's the
Giving
star?
Garrett Wilson giving Garrett Wilson 50-1 to lead the league.
Sure, not a bad look.
Receiver.
Yeah, and plus Devontae Adams, he didn't even play the full season either. He had all those targets.
I mean,
right?
Yeah, they're just peppering him the ball. So I don't know, man. I think it's an insane value, and I found -120 on this over 5.5. I think we'll get to our prediction how they finish at the end. We'll wait on that. So
okay.
Next bet, my friend, and we're going down to South Beach. The Miami Dolphins, 90-1
Boys in the ocean.
33-1 to win the AFC, plus 740 to win the East. Over under 8.5. They are plus 218 on Bookmaker to make the playoffs, minus 280 not to make the playoffs. What say you?
Back to the hard numbers really quick. Passer rating, they were 12th last season. Passing yards per attempt, they were 19th. Rushing yards per attempt, 27th. Absolutely terrible compared to their 2023 rushing numbers. Defensive passer rating, 10th in the league. Defensive passing yards per attempt, 2nd in the league. Rushing defense yards per carry, 13th. So, I mean, the defense did their job. I think it's easy to say this starts and ends with Tua and his health. It's always a question, but I do think this year we have the best backups that we've had over the course of Tua's career. He's been going down, and we weren't able to squeak any wins against bad teams. We had Huntley come in. We had Skylar Thompson come in and get hurt. Skylar Thompson starting playoff games. Like, he just was never able to stay healthy. Now, I love the Quinn Ewers pickup. I like long-term Quinn Ewers. And Zach Wilson, I mean, I think he's worth giving another shot. Hopefully it doesn't – the MILF Hunter, baby. Yep, but he's married now, and she's his age. But anyways, the running back group, lost Raheem Mostert, but honestly, who cares? He did not do anything last year anyway. A-Chain's our guy. He's a perfect fit for this Miami scheme. Then they have Jalen Wright, second-year running back, who had a good rookie season. They signed Alexander Madison, and they drafted Ollie Gordon. Those two guys are huge pickups for them because we didn't have that third, fourth, and short back that can just take the ball, fall forwards for a yard, and get the first down. So now we have that. I thought that they're great additions to the backfield. The receiving core stayed intact with Hill, Jalen Waddle, Washington, and then the addition of Westbrook-Ikhine. Love that. Great red zone threat. Even though Jonnu Smith did leave after having a career year, he's replaced with Darren Waller, who's going to be a wild card. Came from the Giants, came from retirement. But at the end of the day, he was with the Giants, who literally had nobody. So there's really nothing to weigh what he's going to do. Plus, who knew Jonnu Smith was going to have the year he was going to have? So I think that's a decent trade. Wish we kept Jonnu, but I understand why we did it now. And then the offensive line was a major offseason focus. We lost Teron Armstead to retirement, but replaced him with our 2024 draft pick, Patrick Paul, who's just a massive human being. It's over there at left tackle with a year of experience. James Daniels and Jermaine Ifedi, they were signed to cover Austin Jackson's injury he got in camp, who he should be ready by the start of the season. And that is very important to this run game. In 2023, Miami averaged 153 yards per game when he was in the game. When he got hurt in 2024, that dropped drastically to 74 yards per game. So literally more than half the production with him in versus with him out. Yeah, there's other factors to that, but I promise you the right tackle does have a big say in how that run game is operating. And then we drafted in the second-round pick. We drafted Jonah Savania. Don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but that's not what I get paid to do.
Better than I can.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. But I liked this draft pick because he's a very athletic guard. He could play any positions. He adds depth, and then they added depth like Liam Eichenberg and Jackson Carman. The line is important. The line's important for Tua. The line's important for this run game. We focused on that, and I think they did pretty well there. On the defensive side, the return of Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb are going to be absolutely huge. They're coming off big injuries, but if they can stay healthy, Chop Robinson is coming off of a great rookie year. They also extended Zach Sealer, who could play anywhere for them and knows that defense. They lost Raekwon Davis and Calais Campbell and Emmanuel Agba, but they did draft Kenneth Grant from Michigan in the first round and Jordan Phillips. So loved those pickups to help rebuild the front. And the linebacker group really remains the same with Jordan Brooks and Terrell Dodson. With free agent additions like KJ Britt and Willie Gay, there's some depth there as well. But the secondary, oh my gosh, don't even get me started with the secondary now. So we know the Jalen Ramsey Minka swap. I didn't even mind that. I liked Jalen Ramsey, but I also liked Minka, especially being a Dolphins fan when he was originally with us. It's good to see him back. Then we dropped Kendall Fuller, Javon Holland, Jordan Poyer, lost Artie Burns and Kader Kohu, and within 24 hours, season-ending injuries in camp. They still signed Ashton Davis, though. I mentioned that earlier. Jack Jones, Storm Duck, and Mike Hilton. So they tried to fill that need as best they can. But at the end of the day, this Miami offense should operate closer to that 2023 offense with this improved O-line, keeping their core skill positions, adding size pieces like Waller and Ollie Gordon. If Chubb and Phillips can stay healthy, the run defense should be very good. They should be able to get pressure on the ball. The huge red flag is this secondary. It's going to be very young and inexperienced and could cause major issues. I also just heard a little rumor about 8 hours ago that there might be trade talks for Tyreek Hill and McLaurin. I don't know how legit they are. Like McLaurin and maybe like a third-round pick or something. But I know there's whispers in the air about that, which I also wouldn't mind. I like Tyreek Hill, but you don't like a locker room cancer, I'll tell you that.
Jake, did you see that Hill said about HN not being in for goal line / short yardage situation?
No, I did not. Did you hear anything about that? I heard they were talking about who was faster like 4 days ago, and
he just made some. I think the thing was something asked how they could be better, and he said not have HN on the field.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's always a good look.
Yeah, but Tua's come out and said things about just like Tyreek not being the leader he should be, just saying stuff like that, honestly. Like, why would you even come out and say that? Like, even if you're asked a question, why are you going to single out, like, probably one of your top 5 players on the team?
Top playmakers. He's probably the top playmaker right now.
He was their whole offense last year. I think there's a little jealousy there, honestly, but.
Dan chimes in, Dolphins looking good to me for the division, almost as good as Money Badger Jake's.
Thank you. Thank you. Compliments all around. Dan, I appreciate that.
Let's talk little Dolphins. Butch Berry, offensive line coach. He's going to run the wide zone. 21st in pass blocking, 28th in run blocking. And the big thing was in 2023 in adjusted yards, they were 4th. Last year, worst in the league. That was their big thing last year. Offensive line play was brutal. 18th in sacks. They're losing Armstead and relying on underproven linemen. And that's a big risk. You mentioned Tua's injury history, and he's not mobile. And now you're relying on mobile, you know what I mean? Not mobile guys. That's a big red flag for me. Obviously, they look to get the ball out of Tua's hands.
Just going to say that.
Yards after the catch. 2.31 average time to throw, first in the NFL, 56.1% of the passing yards after the catch, 4th in the league. Tua, injury history, long-term questions. Without Armstead, 24th in success rate. With Armstead, 7th in success rate over his career. That's pretty big. Now, look, there's a lot of things I like in this world, but there's only a few I don't like, and I hate left-handed quarterbacks. Different spin on the ball, and all the adjustments on the offensive line are inverted. Left tackle becomes right tackle becomes left tackle. So it's like just everything's just completely thrown off. I'm not the biggest left-handed quarterback proponent. Tyreek Hill, off the field issues, no guaranteed money, trade demand, turning 31. I am doing a fantasy football show with my boy Kyle. And the thing we're doing this week is we broke off wide receivers into tiers. Can you guess what tier I put in Tyreek Hill?
How many tiers is there?
I think we went to 9.
4?
Tier 5. And I mean, look, dude, he said it last year. He wants to be a porn star. Is he focusing on this upcoming porn star career? I don't know. Jalen Waddle hasn't looked great the last 2 years. But if Hill is traded or misses time, absolutely love him. Malik Washington, I think, could morph into something with if Hill sits out, gets hurt, or whatever. You mentioned Darren Waller replacing Jonnu Smith. I can't really trust a guy that quit mid-season. You know what I mean? And fumbled when you were dating that girl from the WNBA who I think is a smoke show, Kelsey Plum. But like that thing where he said he quit when they made him a lead blocker, I don't know if I want that. To me, this team just has a lot of I'm gonna use the term canker sores in the locker room. When we look at the run game, wide zone, fullback lead, some RPOs, 28th in yards per carry, down from first in 2023, 23rd in touchdowns. The loss of Connor Williams, Hunt, and Armstead, I think are really going to hurt this running back room. Achane, electric, but is he a workhorse? You know what I mean? With his size, can he be that workhorse back? I think Jalen Wright fits the scheme perfectly. I think he could provide some potential early down relief. They got Ollie Gordon, who I think is great too. I think they need to use one of those guys a little bit more and kind of rest on Achane because I don't know if he can have another season where they used him as much as they did. McDaniels, I think, is a schematical genius, but I think the system's got a little scale. I think he needs to adjust it a little bit more. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think them making the playoffs that year they went to Kansas City and played in the Frost Bowl, I feel that kind of forced them to give Tua the extension, and now they're kind of stuck with Tua?
In all transparency, there were so many quarterbacks on the market that offseason too. I didn't want to pay him, especially after Tua didn't play in that game. It was Skylar Thompson. He was hurt. That was like his first finger season.
Yeah.
How do you sign a guy long term when they're that injury prone? Also, on top of it, it's not like they had no options. There was quarterbacks coming out of that draft. There was quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson. I'm blanking on who else was available at the time. There was a handful of elite quarterbacks that were available, and we're going to put all of our eggs in the basket of someone who might have to retire if he takes one more blow to the head. He's getting all the guaranteed money after that anyway. I wasn't a fan of it. I like Tua. I root for him. I think he has a lot of potential. I think he runs that offense as good as anyone can. So I think that was a big factor to re-signing him. He knew it like the back of his hand. He gets the ball out quick. He did Taekwondo or whatever the hell he did to try to learn how to fall. That clearly didn't work because he's still going head first into DeMar Hamlin. But that's besides the point. In short, I like Tua. I think he has a lot of potential. He has all the weapons he needs. Maybe that game against Kansas City was a make or break. I'm not too sure. Like, I honestly never even thought about that.
I guess, because I look at it like this, if the Panthers make the playoffs this year, they have to give Bryce Young the extension. If the Dolphins didn't make the playoffs that year, I don't think they give Tua the extension. I think they move on from him.
Oh, you're saying because they made the playoffs?
Because they made the playoffs, Tua got the extension.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson signed as the backup. You mentioned it. This is going to be the best backup that has been there. Tua to me in fantasy is a fade. Hill, risk, reward off the field, aging, declining explosiveness. Waddle must target if Hill gets hurt or traded. I think Malik Washington in best ball you stash, and I want nothing to do with Waller. Defensively, they were pretty good last year, I felt. 10th in points, 4th in yards allowed. That's pretty good. It's the offense that let them down. They're aggressive against the run. They sell up front, but they're 23rd in pressure, 27th in sacks. They need Phillips, Achilles, ACL, Bradley Chubb, ACL. They need those guys to be solid to get some pressure. Kenneth Grant needs to replace Campbell. Secondary, massive ground game. Lost Holland, Jordan Poyer, Jalen Ramsey, starting 2 new safeties. Originally man heavy with layered zone middle, shifted to the size cover 2 post-snap rotations due to lack of cornerback talent. A lot of it is going to fall on this rookie Marshall from Maryland. He's got big shoes to fill. He's going to be thrown to the wolves right away. What do we get from Fitzpatrick? Is he going to bounce back? Is he declining? You mentioned it. It's really hard to trust this DB group. Now, I love Ollie Gordon. I love Quinn Ewers. I think we're going to see him play this year. And I hate to be a dick to you, man. You know, you're my boy. I think the Super Bowl window on this team is closed. I think they had a window a couple years ago. I think it's closed. He's the 6th highest paid quarterback in the league, but when you look at his production, it's the 15th. You can't win with that. With what he's being paid, they need him to produce more. No Armstead, that is a big thing. Are you ready for my big prediction for the Miami Dolphins?
Hit me with it.
McDaniel gets fired, and he's the OC for the Detroit Lions next year.
Really?
That's my prediction.
Better clip this just in case it happens.
That's my prediction, that he gets fired, and he's going to be the OC for the Lions next year.
And not only because I'm a Dolphins fan, but I think there is value on them to make the playoffs at +2 whatever.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Because, like, when you look at their schedule, like, the first half of their schedule is freaking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Easy schedule early. But from week 12 on, they have, like, I called it the cold weather stretch. A lot of games outside on cold weather. But they could be very capable of doing the Ben Roethlisberger, starting out 9-2,
mm-hmm.
and then closing out after the bye, like winning 2 games, and you're in the playoffs at 11-6.
Yeah.
You know, that is really possible with how the front of their schedule is.
Yeah.
You know, you have a quarterback that's gone to the playoffs. You have an offensive genius. You have a defense that performed great last year. If, like, Chubb and Phillips come back, you can get a pass rush. There is a path there.
There's tons of potential. I mean, like, even look at the offensive weapons that they have, though.
Yeah.
They have probably the fastest offense again in the entire league, hands down. A lot depends on this line.
Yeah,
like
can they produce with our Armstead? When Armstead was gone, 24th. You know,
and
there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. That's why I just said, what's this line going to do? Defensive side, they were that good last year without 2 of their best pass rushers and defensive players in general, and Phillips and Chubb.
Yeah,
they lost Ramsey and they had some injuries now, but you also pick up, like, I think Minka is still there and he could still hold his own and he could still be an elite safety in the league. They have all the potential, you know. It's what you said, the canker sores. Can the canker sores be ballers, or are they gonna snowball into, like, bigger health issues, you know?
And that's always going to be the big worry. My other thing with them is I'm spacing on it. You mentioned the trade. I would like this team more if they got Scary Terry.
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
You know what I mean? If they got Scary Terry, I would like this team more, because Hill, to me, is not the guy you want in the locker room right now.
Now, would you like the Commanders less if they had Tyreek Hill, though?
Full transparency, I'm already on the Commanders under. I already bet that.
Really?
I'd love it even more
if Hill went there.
Hill there. I would love it even more, because, like, my quick thing on the Commanders, everyone remembers Jaden Daniels when he had Brendan Ayuk and Malik Neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody remembers the years in between that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
No one really remembers those years. Everyone remembers the good stuff. And if Hill's not on the field, you look at, I don't know, man. Like, I would love that move for your Dolphins.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to it at all. At all.
let's go ahead to the last team, the Buffalo Bills, plus 670 to win the Super Bowl, plus 360 to win the AFC, minus 295 to win the East, over under 11.5 to make the playoffs, minus 752 to not make the playoffs, plus 390. There's certain guys that I feel make it really fucking hard for you to hate them.
Is Josh Allen one of them?
And I feel Josh Allen is one of them.
He is, dude. He's in the division.
You know what I mean? I feel he's just like, you're like, fuck you, man. You just seem like such a cool dude. Like, he's like doing stuff for the Children's Hospital. You see this thing, this one kid at a sign, hug my sister. She's your biggest fan. Went over there, spent time with his sister. He's dating the girl. He's married to the girl who's a smoke show from that show that was on Disney Plus. That was Hawkeye.
I thought they broke up.
No, he married that girl.
Oh, they're married? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
You know, he's just a dude, man. This is the hardest guy not to like.
Yeah, no, trust me.
Go ahead. What do you think about Josh Allen?
I love him. I wish I could hate him. You should see the office I'm in right now. I'm looking at a Josh Allen signed photo jumping over Reed on the Chiefs. They're like, my in-laws are huge Bills fans. At my wedding in January, that's when they played the Ravens in the playoffs. It was the day after, so we set up TVs at the venue we were at, and we were all watching, and the Dolphins were already out. So I was like, all right, I'll be a Bills fan for the day. And it was actually fun. I almost enjoyed it more than being a Dolphins fan.
Okay. All right.
I want to know why, dude. I like Josh Allen. I like all the adversity he's always going through, and he still just keeps a level head. You never hear about him being one of those guys complaining about any. The guy never really had weapons, and he stayed true to Buffalo. He just got paid. I'll talk about that in a second. Love Josh Allen, though. I mean, I wish he was a Dolphin.
It's hard not to like him. Let's go. What do you think about this team overall, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be, in short, they're going to be better than they were last year. Last numbers I've run through since it's the last team. Passer rating last year in 2024, they were 9th. Passing yards per attempt, 9th. Rushing yards per attempt, 12th. Defensive passer rating, 18th. Defensive passing yards per attempt, 19th. Rush defense yards per carry, 20th. It was no shocker that their defense was clearly the weak spot of their team last year. I mean, I loved betting overs in their games because they'd put up 40 points and they'd still lose. So that would be a lock. But on offense, just mentioned Josh Allen. He secured that massive, well-deserved contract. The wide receiver group saw changes with Josh Palmer and Elijah Moore stepping in to replace Matt Collins and I would say replace Amari Cooper, but he had 7 receptions for them. He was terrible. They extended Khalil Shakir through 2029. I think that was big for them. And they should see improvements from Keon Coleman here in his second year. If Dalton Kincaid could stay healthy, him and Dawson Knox are going to be another good 1-2 punch at tight end. They should remain stable there. The running back position. What are we doing with James Cook here? I know that is a huge thing, his holdout right now. For the contract extension. And from what I read, it was not an expected thing. Like, he went to minicamp, didn't bring it up, and then just stopped practicing and started holding out. So I'm sure they'll get that taken care of. I mean, he's coming off a 16-touchdown season. He is kind of deserving of it. Love Josh Allen, but James Cook was kind of a glue to this offense as well. Looking at the offensive line, I mean, they're returning fully intact. They allowed the fewest sacks in the league last year. So that's great news. That's obviously a lot easier, too, having Josh Allen as your quarterback, like avoiding all those sacks. He is smart. He throws the ball away. He runs when he needs to, even if he just gets a yard and runs out of bounds. It's easy to avoid sacks when you have him back there. And then they even reinforced that O-line unit by signing Alec Green and drafting some guys. So I think the O-line, the offense is going to get even better with those skill position additions if they could figure out this James Cook contract. And then defensively, the Bills addressed their pass rush struggles. They went and they got Joey Bosa, got rid of Von Miller. They were 23rd in pressure rate last year, so that's not good. Joey Bosa is a huge upgrade in my eyes. They also signed Aganobi and Hecht, who both will be facing 6-game suspensions to start the season, so that sucks. I believe it was PEDs for Hecht. I don't know about Oganobi. I think they're both PEDs, but I'll have to double check. Don't quote me on that. The linebacker core remains the same with Milano and Bernard. If they're healthy, I know Milano had the torn bicep, but that shouldn't be anything too crazy. Then they draft Olofosio from Washington. Then the secondary is what they really needed to work on. They drafted 3 cornerbacks, including their first rounder, Hairston, out of Kentucky. Dorian Strong and Jordan Hancock were the other 2. They did trade Alam and released Rasul Douglas, keeping Tre'Davious White and Dane Johnson. That's good for depth and just having the experience. But the safety position, I thought they were going to make more changes at safety because that's really where they struggled. They're sticking with DeMar Hamlin and Taylor Rapp. Both were not good. Like Hamlin allowed over a 127 QBR last year. The Bills did draft Cole Bishop in the second round from Utah, who's reportedly in contention for one of those starting roles. But I did expect them to do more there. But all in all, defensive line improved. They should be getting more pressure on the quarterback. Their offensive improved. They're going to have a young cornerback or defensive backs in general, but that's really the only question mark in my eyes is that could be really good or it could be absolutely terrible for them again. That was what I looked at the Bills. I have them winning the division. I'm not going to sit here and say that they're not. They're the much better than all the other 3 teams that we talked about. The thing is they play some hard teams. I didn't even look at their schedule. I'm sure you did, so I'm curious to hear more about that. But that's also why they go deep into the playoffs, man. They play these good teams. They play them well, where teams like the Dolphins play a good team and they get smoked and they can't beat a team over 500. And, the Patriots and the Jets are the same way. So, like, when it's crunch time and there's 2 minutes left on the clock, I want Josh Allen and this offense on the field versus any of the other duos or trios in this division on offense. So that's what I got for the Bills.
Dan chimes in, I'm 2 degrees of fantasy separation from Josh Allen. Guy in the league I did is Bob does golf and he golfs with Allen. Oh, that's pretty cool.
He's a good golfer too.
Pretty cool. For me, coaching philosophy, Brady, second year as coordinator, comes from the Sean Payton tree, was a passing game coordinator for that 2019 LSU team that was historically good. Offense, second in EPA per play in 2024. System is all about doing what? Making life easier for Allen. Faster reads, quicker decisions, more up the field throws. And we saw it. His interception rate dropped to a career low 1.2% last year. Brady kept Allen's deep ball element, 5th highest deep ball rate in the league, but added efficiency, more targets to Shakir, Kincaid, and Knox. The addition of Josh Palmer and Elijah Moore gives Allen more reliable middle-of-the-field weapons. Rookie Keelan Coleman could take over the deep routes. In my eyes, look, he played at Michigan State before he transferred to Florida State. I'm very familiar with the Michigan State program. Just very limited in his route tree, but he really does have a high ceiling. Offensive line, Aaron Colmer, year 4. Blocking, zone scheme, 5th in pass blocking, 17th in run blocking, 1st in sacks allowed, just 14 sacks last year, which is insane. 7th in adjusted yards. Overall, all 5 starters returned. Great continuity. Health was a big factor. Each played 15 games. Lack of proven depth is a concern. If an injury hits, the unit's going to take a downfall. They need to protect Allen well, and they should do again this year. Bills had the 9th most rushing attempts, 9th most rushing yards, led the NFL in rushing TDs. As I mentioned, power/zone run split keeps defensive guessing. Cook thrived in zone runs. Ray Davis averaged over 6 yards per carry on power gap runs. I expect to see him some more early down work. Cook scored 16 touchdowns last season. He's going to regress, especially with this extension talk and all this stuff looming in place.
What do you think they're going to do out of curiosity?
I think they just let him sit, man.
Really? You think so?
I don't even know what their caps. Do they have the money to pay for him?
Well, that's the thing. They just paid everybody, and now that's why he kind of came out of the woodworks with this.
And he had one good year. You know what I mean? Like, you have a running back on a rookie deal. Like, fine, you want to leave, but just put up numbers and you're eventually going to get paid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Shakir, I love him. Reliable slot weapon. Allen, go-to early downs. Kean Coleman, as I mentioned, the vertical route. Kincaid, torn PCL in 2024, 20% target share. Healthy now, prime for a breakout candidate. I am still pissed he dropped that ball in the AFC Championship game.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, how and that I had his receiving yards over too. That would have gave it to me. And I had the Bills in the game too. I mean, I lost 2 bets on that. They were just heartbreaking.
Bro, I can't believe you dropped that ball.
Front 7. The big thing with him, and you hit the nail on the head with Bosa, McDermott wants to create pressure with the front 4, avoiding blitzing. That's why they brought in Bosa. I think Bosa is just going to be that guy on third down. Hey, man, go get in there. Get a pass rush. They're not going to use him early on first and second. It's going to be more in those third or second in line, those quote-unquote passing downs. Landon Johnson, rookie to watch, raw, talented. Ed Oliver, Jesus Christ. Ed Oliver is the key to everything. If he misses time, run defense, edge pass rush, you're going to suffer. TJ Sanders, Larry Ogletree, add some depth. When we look at the safeties, you mentioned it, weak. That's the weak link. Hamlin struggles with recognition and reaction, still ability. CB room, White returns, veteran leadership. You got the rookie Maxwell Hardinson, who's going to play, but he's a rookie. Safety is just a major concern. They still could add a veteran, someone that gets caught, still could make a move. McDermott likes to run, bend, don't break model, ranked third. But this is the big key stat for me. They did such a great job turning the ball over, but they're only 31st in punts forced.
Really?
That needs to improve.
It's only a matter of time before that bites you in the ass, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's why when you look at their defense, that's what they did. Every single pick to start the draft was just a bunch of defensive dudes.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, the back 4 needs to get better. Oliver needs to stay healthy. Bosa needs to get to the quarterback. When you look at it last year, I felt that they were lucky to get the win over Baltimore, but they should have beat KC. The goal for them, they've only lost 1 regular season game in regulation over the past 3 years. They need to get they need to get the top seed. That's got to be goal number 1. Extremely soft road schedule. Listen to these road games. Jets, Falcons, Panthers, Dolphins, Texans, Steelers, Patriots, and Browns. They're going to be favorites in every single one of those games.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be schedule. Yeah, they're going to be 7-point favorites in all of them, probably except for the Texans and maybe the Steelers.
It's just insane. McDermott in his 7 coach seasons, he's gone to his win total over 6 out of the 7. I mentioned the 31st in forced punts. That's because they were plus 24 in turnover differential. That number is going to regress. They're going to be due for some regression there. If Cook holds out, or if he goes down, I don't think Ray Davis can do what he did. Does Allen take on too much of the rushing load? Also, I'm going to say it. Are the Bills a team that just can't get over the hump?
That's what I tell my in-laws.
Talent is there. They hired some new coaches. Nielsen, Ribovic, I felt they had a great draft. Their just weakness is their back 4 and their defense. They just need that defense, and they try to address it to stay a step forward. Bottom line, as long as they have Josh Allen, they're contend. This season is all about health and defensive consistency. If that's the case, nothing else should get in their way. And I'll let everyone know right now, in my Super Bowl prediction, I have the Bills over the 49ers in the Super Bowl.
Really?
That is my big that when I did my little bracket, I have to do and everything. That is my big thing. Bills over the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Let's go ahead. How do you have this division finishing? Who is your 4th place team?
The Jets. I I have the Jets, and I know that you're a little higher on them. I just think it's going to be a repeat of last year. There's a lot of needs still. There's a lot of question marks. When I'm looking at a team like the Dolphins, they've kind of been intact for the last couple of years. The chemistry's kind of there. The Bills, obviously, no question. I'd already told you I think they're going to come in first. And I just think the Patriots added more important pieces than the Jets added. I just don't see the Jets having that great of a year this year. So I have them coming in fourth.
I went fourth place. I'm sorry to do this to you, dude.
You're wrong. You're gonna be wrong.
I hope I am, dude. The Miami Dolphins. Third place. Are you ready for this? The New England Patriots. Second place, the Jets. And first place, the Buffalo Bills.
You know it's the Jets, right?
Jets, Jets.
Yeah, like they're not winning anything. It's still the Jets. It's the curse of the Jets. But I do have this.
You never know, man.
I have the Dolphins coming in third, the Pats coming in second, the Bills coming in first.
Okay. So
the Pats were like my.
Do you have? So in terms of playoff teams, how many playoff teams do you have out of here?
Out of here?
Yeah.
Probably one. I mean, probably just the Bills. I think there's value on the Dolphins and the Pats making the playoffs at the big plus money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. It's the AFC. Anything can happen. I mean, obviously you have like who knows what the Steelers are going to do. The Ravens are going to be good again. Cleveland's probably going to suck. You have the Bengals. They're going to be another who knows what. Is this the last show that you did, or do you have another conference show?
Next week, what is it? Next week, Gino comes on for the NFC West. After that, it's the NFC East. Then we're finishing off with the AFC South.
Okay. Yeah. So is this the first one?
No, you're like, I've already done the AFC West, the AFC North, the NFC South, and the NFC North.
Yeah. I mean, this is how I look at it. I think obviously the AFC North, they could be a little bit of a powerhouse maybe. Like they might have 2-3 teams in the playoffs. If not, though, like I don't see – or did I say AFC South? AFC North is what I meant with the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals. Mm-hmm. I think they're all going to be equally in it. That division's always so tight. AFC South, though, I mean, I don't see more than one team coming out of the AFC South. I really don't see more than one team coming out of the AFC West either. Maybe the Chargers. I think the Broncos are going to be a little better than last year, but I also think they got some things to fall their way last year. So I think that luck is going to wear off, and that rookie luck on Bo Nix is going to wear off, which I like him. But it's hard for me to predict. I think there could be 2 in this division, but also if the Ravens, Steelers, and Bengals all have great seasons, and the Chiefs and Chargers have a great season, it's going to be a tight race for the wild card.
So I'll put you on the spot right here. What's your playoff teams in the AFC? I'll just put you on the spot right here. Since I only have one more division to do, so everyone kind of knows where I am with everybody. Where are you at, my friend?
So I'll go the division winners that I think Bills are coming out of the AFC East. I think the Ravens win the AFC North again. I think the Texans win the AFC South, and I think the Chiefs win the AFC West. Very hype beast. Then there's 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I do think the Bengals make their way in there. The Chargers. I think the Steelers are going to be sneaky good too. I think the AFC North is going to have 3 teams. I don't know. It's so hard, dude. I don't know what the Jaguars are going to be like this year. I think that last spot can go to anywhere in the AFC East, though. Can go to the Dolphins. Right? Was that 8? Did I name 8 or did I name 7?
You named 7.
Did I name 7? All right. Let me. Bills,
Okay.
Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, Texans, Chiefs, Chargers, and the Dolphins.
Okay, real quick before I
have to have the homer pick in there. Come on, what am I going to give up before the season even starts?
In full transparency, dude. Okay. Last week I did take my Lions not to make the playoffs. I'm just saying.
Wow.
Dan comes in here off topic, but Taylor Fritz or Ben Shelton tomorrow in Toronto. Probably go Fritz, dude. Shelton is the ultimate wild card for me. Do you have any opinion on that, or?
No, I have no opinion on that. Didn't even look at it.
So here are my AFC players.
Now you have to give me yours.
All right, and I'm gonna save my surprise one to the end. In the North, in this division, the East, the Bills. In the North, I have 3: Ravens, Bengals, Steelers.
Same.
In the South, I have 2: Texans and Jags.
Okay.
Okay. And in the AFC West, are you ready for this, buddy?
I'm ready. Are you going to say the Raiders?
The Chargers.
Chargers.
I have the Chiefs missing out on the playoffs this year.
Really? I would actually love to see that for football.
I think this is the year just because, dude, they've played over 100 games. There has to be a time where they're going to just be fucking hit with everything, man.
Yeah, but that's only 7. You only named 7, I think, too, right? You said Chargers.
Yeah.
Texans, Jaguars, Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, and the
you only need 7.
Bills.
It's only 7, right?
Oh, it is 7?
Yeah, it's 7.
What am I? I thought they extended it, or am I thinking of the college football?
You're thinking college football. One team has a bye. But I will say this, dude. I think the team that has the most value, if you're gonna bet it just to make the playoffs, is the Raiders. And I know you're gonna hate me with that.
No, I'm not. My dad and uncles are all Raiders fans, so I mean, if they're watching, they're probably gonna love you for that.
One more thing before are we going to be betting AFC East unders first half and over second half next season? I'll be honest, it kind of depends. Last year, I did kind of get away with that. 2 years ago, it was just a money wagon. You would take that first half under, and then you would take the second half over. I will look into that, see what the trends were for last season. I don't really know. I'm trying to pull that up right now.
Yeah, and I love looking at those trends, honestly, when I'm betting first halves. Like, some teams just come out and play much better than others for the first half of the game. Other teams are second half teams, and you never really know that until like week 3, 4, 5, honestly, where those trends, there's actually a decent sample size to confidently be like, all right, like this team is a first half wagon, so we'll be all over it, or a first half over team because they come out hot and their defense sucks,
Now, there was one, and these trends are something you have to watch. Who is the worst quarterback in the last 20 years first half? So second half, excuse me.
You're asking me because I have no clue.
And when I tell you, you are going to be amazed.
Who is the worst quarterback in the first half over the last 20 years?
Second half against the number.
Who is that? Go wait. Give me 3 options.
What now? No, he still plays, and he plays on the West Coast.
Still plays. Matthew Stafford.
No.
Still
Right
plays.
City. Right City.
Oh, what do you mean? No way, it's Justin Herbert.
It's Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert. Well, you got to think all those Stanley teams, dude.
Wait, so what is that based off of? Like, winning off the second half?
No, the second half against the number.
Yeah, well, also his defense always sucks. So
I'm trying to bring it up right now, but of course my database
is crazy.
at snail's pace. It was
Never would have
insane.
thought that.
I know, because like people forget how putrid he was when Staley was there. They just associate with Harbaugh that he's just this machine now. But when they look at the big picture of stuff, so here we go. I'm bringing up right now, and then I will let the people get going. Spread second half. Justin Herbert.
But even look up, you look that up on what, StatMuse?
I have a database, my friend. I am one of those. I am one of those geeks, dude. I have a database where I can like look in different trends and just kind of plug stuff in. Justin Herbert, in his career, 27, 47, and 5, negative 28.7% ROI. When you, oh my God,
there's your second half bet against
Matt Stafford, 94, 120, and 8.
I was right.
Second half. So, but his ROI is only negative 15.2%.
There must be something in that LA water that doesn't put the ice in the veins,
There's got to be something in that LA water, man. Best ROI, who has a good, decent record?
Josh Allen's got to be in there.
What's Josh Allen, dude? What's Josh Allen here at ATS?
Josh Allen,
71, 36, and 3.
In the second half?
In the second half against the number 26.3% ROI.
What about Joe Burrow?
37, 31, and 1, 4.4% ROI. I wonder what Lamar Jackson is. 51, 39, and 4. Mahomes?
But that doesn't even touch Josh Allen.
Mahomes, 51, 56, and 4. Rodgers.
That was a huge trend last year. The Kansas City Chiefs could not cover big spreads.
Yeah. I mean, like
automatic. Didn't even have to look at anything. They're minus 8.5. I'm taking the Raiders plus 8.5. It's that easy. I think 7.5 or more they covered one time all last season.
And Tua, 32, 26, and 4. 5.6% ROI, buddy. Look at that, man. Tua put up some numbers.
Dude, he's not – the games that he's played, he has a good record. Like his career record is not terrible. It's just like he can't play in the cold, and then he gets hurt before the playoffs every year or before the end of the season. It's like – and we couldn't even beat some of the worst teams in the league. I mean, I couldn't even watch the games. They were terrible to watch.
Yeah.
Like, that's the best that we could have done was Snoop Huntley.
Dude, Snoop Huntley. I'm still bitter.
I would have loved anyone else to come and swing the rock over there. Jameis Winston, bring him. Should have brought Jameis Winston in.
I'm still pissed on Snoop Huntley. I had the Ravens money line the game when he drove him down to the goal line. They didn't give it to J.K. Dobbins. He tried to run it in, fumbled, and the linebacker from the Bengals returned it.
2 years ago?
I have a plus seven, and the money line. So pissed. Still bitter to this day. Jake, I'd like to thank you for coming on, dude. Anytime people like you on the show, I love. It's been an hour and 15 minutes. It feels like we've been talking for 2. Appreciate you coming on. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media, my friend?
Yeah, I'm on X or Twitter or whatever the kids call it these days at Money Badger Bets. I'm also part of the Better Process Discord. That's where you can get all every day on X. And then my best bet, along with just full Discord access to a couple cappers in there, some sheets for you to form your own opinions, all of my plays. And then you can always just, shoot the shit with us in there as well. We're always talking sports. So that's where you can find all my plays. I'm also available on X. And that's about it. Not on Instagram or TikTok or anything else. I keep it simple. So go find me over there. Shoot me a follow. Say what's up. And I love football season. It's my favorite season. So I'm chomping at the bits to get a couple bets laid down for this upcoming season.
I'm looking forward to it too. Appreciate your time. Go back and enjoy that Jersey Shore, my friend. We'll talk soon. Give this man a follow, and best of luck, my friend.
Appreciate it, dude. You too. It's always a pleasure.